The weather seems okay, but there is a rain warning in effect. Let's see if that actually happens, huh? And what's going on today? I guess this is a follow-up story in terms of the Kingston Police in Ontario using drones to catch distracted drivers, as it's raising controversy of privacy, where people say the police shouldn't be allowed, for example, to film so close into people's personal phones with all their information and all that. And it seems like they're defending themselves, saying they're going to see it anyways through other means in the same manner, so they don't see what's wrong with it. This one here says, Kingston Ontario Police Chief defends use of drones to catch distracted drivers as privacy concerns rise. Kingston Ontario's police chief says drones are a valuable tool for officers to catch drivers peeking at their phones, as residents and legal experts raise concerns over the technology's use. Police issued 20 tickets earlier this month for distracted driving during a one-day blitz at 3 intersections with the help of video captured on a drone showing the offenders using their cell phones. The move follows in the footsteps of other police forces that have utilized the technology for a variety of purposes, including the Ottawa Police Service. Kingston Police Chief Scott Fraser says while drones have been used for similar purposes by the force, it's the first time they have been used to capture distracted drivers. He says they have received mostly positive feedbacks as concerns over road safety in the city grow. Saying here, quote, "We're just trying to get people to put their phones down. Nothing more, nothing less," he told News Talk 580 CFRA's Ottawa Now with Christy Cameron Friday. The Canadian Constitution Foundation, an organization that defends civil liberties, called the use of drones for those purposes a violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and asking the police to immediately cease the use of the technology. Saying, quote, "Canadians have a reasonable expectation of privacy in the activities they are undertaking inside their automobiles." So they're using that argument that you heard before, where it's one thing to use a camera to catch the person, I guess, using a phone in that regards, but it's another thing to zoom into the phone, see what specifically they're doing or looking at, like that information. That's the argument, to my understanding, in terms of the privacy issue. And the counterpoint for the police, according to this, is how they say they do it anyways through other means. For example, they have police officers going undercover in, for example, buses. Like they'll peek out of the window, for example, to find distracted drivers, and other methods where they're going to see what's on the screen anyway. So that's kind of the argument, like what's the difference? But again, I believe the main issue is the fact that they're recording it with a camera, for example. And it says here, drone use infringes on people's rights, former Ontario Privacy Commissioner says. Anne Kavakian, former 3-term Information and Privacy Commissioner for Ontario, says police are not considering the magnitude of information that can be captured by the drones and insists more transparency is needed. It's foolish to just say they're only capturing whether the hands are on the wheel or not. That may be all the police officers are interested in, but there's a lot of other information that could be gathered, she told Ottawa Now. Kavakian says she's uncomfortable with the use of drones because there is currently no mechanism in place to restrict the amount of information police forces use. She also worries about unauthorized third-party privacy breaches. "We need at least one good court case on this, on the use of drones and how you restrict its uses," she said. It also infringes on people's rights living in an area where there's drones flying around. These questions have to be examined very carefully. Well, it's kind of interesting because by that comment, they kind of want this to go to court, and I kind of said too, I'm kind of interested to see how it turns out, because it is a real technicality in that sense of things like privacy and all that. But the other thing I'm thinking of too is the double standard again. For example, some people argue, hey, you should never fly drones, let's just say near vehicles, because you could distract the driver, and because of that, they're going to crash. So how about this, where you have like a drone flying right beside, I guess, the vehicle or something like that, like a police bus? So what would happen in that regards, where let's just say the person crashed because they were distracted by the drone saying, hey, what's this that popped up? I mean, that would be kind of interesting too to think about. So it'll be interesting to see too in terms of their, quote, I guess, defense and justification, since again, they fear-mongered everyone with pretty much the exact same type of stuff, if you think about it, in terms of people that aren't officials and all that. With that in mind though, people using drones to attack other people have been in the news a lot, as you know, in war. But how about this one? What's this about? People using paint? This one says, drone paint attack on Russian embassy in Sweden raises security concerns. On the night of May 25, an incident occurred on the territory of the Russian embassy in Sweden when an unknown drone dropped a glass jar filled with paint. Diplomats called this act cynical and expressed concern about potential threats to people nearby. According to information provided by the press service of the Russian embassy, dropping a glass container from a height can cause serious injuries, making this incident particularly dangerous. The statement emphasized that such attacks have been ongoing for over a year, and the responsibility for the consequences lies with the Swedish authorities. That's kind of interesting too, on how they say it's happened, I guess, in different instances too. And this was kind of interesting with that topic of AI and a lot of companies wanting to use it more to reduce human labor. How about this one, where I guess, according to a lot of people, it's already having an effect on people trying to look for entry-level jobs out of school and all that. This one says, AI is breaking entry-level jobs that Gen Z workers need to launch careers. LinkedIn exec warns. As millions of students get ready to graduate this spring, their prospects for landing that first job that helps launch their careers is looking dimmer. For example, AI tools are doing the types of simple coding and debugging tasks that junior software developers did to gain experience. AI is also doing work that young employees in the legal and retail sectors once did, and Wall Street firms are reportedly considering steep cuts to entry-level hiring. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate for the college graduates has been rising faster for other workers in the past few years. That's actually true for things like coding, actually. I did that just for fun, to see whether or not AI programs can write you a simple game. Let's just say like a Space Invader, and sure enough, it does it in a couple of seconds. So you can imagine stuff like that is going to require less and less people. That makes me curious, is there actually anything you can think of where a robot or AI per se couldn't actually do with enough training and resources in general? So what would actually be a safe profession in that sense, or let's just say a skill or degree to develop for a student nowadays when one is graduating? In general, I still think the manual skill and ability to do various things, especially in the trades, are still going to be valuable, because just like those stories the other day, when you have things like the telecom or let's just say electricity go down, people don't know what to do afterwards, right? So you'll need people to be able to do things manually still in many cases. All right, see you guys later.